Hare Krishna, welcome everyone to our Chaitanya Charitāmrita overview class. Thank you for joining in. We'll begin with our prayers. Om Ajnanatimmirandhasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute तप्त कांचना गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानो सुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामी निति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासदि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे Hare Krishna, welcome everyone. We are discussing from Chaitanya Charitāmrita Adi Leela. We are in chapter 6, the glories of Advaita Acharya. So Kaviraj Goswami begins this chapter by describing how Advaita Acharya, he is Mahavishnu, he is non different from the Mahavishnu, who is the expansion of Krishna. So he describes how Advaita Acharya, he is, so he gives the pranam mantra for Advaita Acharya. Advaitam Harina Advaitad Acharyam Bhakti Samshanat. So he is the one who propagates this bhakti movement. He propagates the cult of devotional service. Bhaktavataram Isham Tam Advaita Acharyam Ashray. So he is the Supreme Lord and he has come in the incarnation of the Lord's devotee. So he is the same Mahavishnu who has, so he is the incarnation of Mahavishnu who has appeared. And we described how Kaviraj Goswami says that Advaita Acharya, he is the one who introduces the path of devotional service for everyone. And he is the primary limb of the Supreme Lord. He's the principal limb of the Supreme Lord. So we discussed till 35th verse, where Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami says that through Advaita Acharya, Lord Chaitanya, he spread the Sankirtan movement. Yar dwara kaila Prabhu Kirtan Prachar, Yar dwara kaila Prabhu Jagat Nistar. So after saying this, he says, actually the glories of Advaita Acharya are unlimited. It is very difficult to describe the glories of Advaita Acharya. Acharya Gosai Ranguna Mahima Apar, Jiva Koti Ko Thai Pai Bekatar Par. Oh, he says, I am an insignificant living entity. How can I understand and describe the glories of Advaita Acharya? And then he says, so Advaita Acharya is one limb, the one of the principal limb of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Nityanand Prabhu is the another limb. Acharya Gosaira Chaitanya Mukhya Ang. Ar ek Angatar Prabhu Nityananda. So Advaita Acharya and Nityananda, they are the two principal limbs of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And the smaller limb is Srivas Thakur. And there are various associates of the Lord. They are the hands, face, and eyes of the Lord. Sango Pangastra Parshadam. So various associates, Lord has unlimited associates. That's what Kaviraj Goswami says, that the associates of Lord, they are unlimited. I am telling only few of them to purify myself. So he says Anant Apar, the associates of the Lord Chaitanya, they are Anant Apar. I am just telling few of them to purify myself. And therefore, with all of them, Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he performs wonderful pastimes. Ei sab laiya Chaitanya Prabhura Vihar, Ei sab laiya Korin Vanchita Prachar. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he, along with all his associates, he propagates this preaching of Kirtana, Sankirtan, and he performs all the pastimes with all these associates. So therefore, the primary goal of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is to preach this message of Krishna consciousness. And all his associates, they are helping him. And therefore, Nityananda Prabhu, he goes to each and every person's home and he bows down in front of them. He says, please take the names of Krishna. Bolo Krishna kaho Krishna karo Krishna siksha Nadiyago Dhume Nityananda Mahajan. So that's how all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they have only one thing in their mind: how to deliver the entire world. That's why Devikinandan Thakur, one of the devotees, he says, Brahmanda Tarite Shakti Dhare Jane Jane Veda Purane Guna Gaye Jeva Shune. Every devotee of Lord Chaitanya, he has the power to deliver entire universe. Because everyone is empowered by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Vaisavalaya Prabhu Chaitanya Vihar. So all these associates, Mahaprabhu takes all of them and performs this pastime of spreading the Sankirtan. Vaisavalaya Karen Vanchita Prachar. Because that is the purpose. That is the reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come. Because he is thinking, oh, people are not following. I came and gave the message, but people are not following. Apani achari Prabhu shikhaino sabare. So therefore he has come with all these associates to spread this message of Bhagavad Gita, message of Srimad Bhagavatam. But this Advaitacharya, although he is a principal limb of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he thinks himself as the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Although he is Advaitacharya, he is a disciple of Madhavendra Puri. And that means he is the god brother of Ishwar Puri. He is a god brother of Ishwar Puri, who is the spiritual master of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So Advaitacharya considers himself to be servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu also obeys him, respects him like spiritual master, because he is a god brother of his spiritual master. So in the purport, Prabhupada, he describes the entire Guru Shishya Parampara, right from Brahmaji. So, in Bhagavad Gita, if you see, after the introduction, there is a whole Guru Parampara which is described, starting from Lord Vishnu himself. So Prabhupada writes that Madhavendra Puri, he is the very, very important Acharya who established the intricacies of love. Jaya Jaya Shri Madhavendra, Jaya Jaya Madhavendra Puri, Prema Rasa Pur. So he says, Kaviraj Goswami describes the glories of Madhavendra Puri. He says, he is a Prema Rasa Pur. He is a primary, he is the person in which the seed of devotion primarily fructified. So therefore, Madhavendra Puri is the one who brought the worship of Srimati Radharani. And Madhavendra Puri, he had two principal disciples, Ishwar Puri and Advaitacharya. And therefore, Prabhupada says that Gaudiya Vaishnavas, we are connected to Brahma Sampradaya through Madhavendra Puri, because Madhavendra Puri, he was a disciple of Madhva. He is in the disciplic succession from Madhvacharya. That's why Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara is connected to Brahma, Madhva, Gaudiya Vaishnava Parampara. So Prabhupada writes in the purport the entire disciplic succession, how Lord Vishnu instructed Brahma, Brahma instructed Narada, Vyas, Shukdev Goswami, Vyasadeva instructed Shukdev Goswami, and Madhvacharya also went to Narad Vyasadeva. So Vyasadeva, he instructed directly to Madhvacharya also. And then Madhvacharya had many disciples. One of them was Padmanabhacharya. His disciple was Narahari, then Madhava, then Akshobhaya Tirtha. Then in this way, Srila Prabhupada, he writes the entire parampara all the way up to Madhavendra Puri. So therefore, Kaviraj Goswami says that although Advaitacharya, he is the avatar of Mahavishnu, but because he is the disciple of Madhavendra Puri, so Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he bows down in front of Advaitacharya. He offers reverential, respectful prayers. But Advaitacharya doesn't like this. He considers himself as the servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And there is a pastime that when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would give all the respects to Advaitacharya, he would not like it. So one day he planned, okay, I will do something by which Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will accept me as his servant. So he started preaching Mayavad. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he came to know, he came to that place and he started beating Advaitacharya. So the wife of Advaitacharya, Sita Thakurani, she became so worried. She said, oh, you'll kill this old man, please leave him. And Advaitacharya was in ecstasy. He said, now you have accepted me as your servant, O Mahaprabhu. And that's how Mahaprabhu understood that Advaitacharya has tricked him. So therefore, Advaitacharya, so Kaviraj Goswami says very wonderful thing. He says, the joy of service is such wonderful that Advaitacharya, he forgets everything. He forgets himself in the joy of service. In this world, to become a servant is the lowest of the things. But who is Advaitacharya? He is the avatar of Mahavishnu, and for him, the joy of service is uncomparable. It cannot be compared with anything else. And that is what he is experiencing. So Prabhupada writes in the purport that joy of devotional service is such that it cannot be compared with Brahmananda, even if it is multiplied by 10 million times or billion times, Prabhupada writes. Varam deva moksham na mokshavadim va na chanyam vrineham vareshadapiha idam teva puranata gopala balam sadame manasya virastam kimanye. So Prabhupada quotes this verse in which Satyavrat Muni, he's writing that I don't want anything, oh my Lord. I don't want moksha. I don't want even your Vaikuntha. I don't want Goloka. I just want to see your beautiful face. Idam teva puranata gopal balam. Gopal bal. That form should reside in my heart. He says, oh, you delivered the sons of Kuver, Nalakuvar and Manigriv, Kuver, Atmajo, Baddha, Murte, Vayadvat. Toya Mochito Bhakti, are you delivered them? You give me that same prem bhakti. Tatha prema bhaktim swakamne prayacha namokshe graho me sti damodareha. So therefore, for a devotee, the joy of service is so amazing and wonderful that he is not ready to bargain his position with anyone in this world. Hanumanji is praying, I don't want any situation where the relationship between you and me is destroyed, oh my Lord Ram. Bhavabandha chire tasye sprahiyami namuktaye bhavan prabhur aham dasa iti yatra vilupyate. I don't want liberation. Because if in that liberation there is no conception of you being the master and I being the servant, I don't want it. That is the glory of the pleasure of service. This Das Abhiman, it is so very amazing that nobody in the list of pure devotees is ready to give up this Das Abhiman. We are proud of being the boss. We have a boss Abhiman. But all these big devotees, they have Das Abhiman. And the further section, Kaviraj Goswami will describe that each and every personality in the entire universe, he is just hankering for being Das of Krishna. Krishna Das Abhimane Ye Ananda Sindhu Koti Brahma Sukh Nahe Tara Ek Bindu. Krishna Das Abhiman. If you want to be proud of anything, be proud of being servant of Krishna. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur writes in his book Madhurya Kadamini, and in that Bhakti Tirth Maharaj, he has written a commentary. And that he says, we can be proud of our connection with Krishna. We can be proud of our Guru Parampara. We can be proud of Krishna. We cannot be proud in what we are, but we can be proud about our connection with Krishna. We can be proud about being servants of Krishna, because that position is much greater than anything in this world. Krishna Das Abhiman, the joy of being servant of Krishna, it is like Ananda Sindhu. It is like an ocean of happiness, because Radharani and all the great devotees, they are experiencing this joy, this Das Abhiman Sukh. And what is that? Koti Brahma Sukh Tar Nahi Ek Bindu. That joy cannot be compared with the joy of happiness of Brahman, even if it is multiplied by millions of times. And in that supreme joyful state, Advaitacharya says, Nityananda and myself, we are servants of Lord Chaitanya. And nowhere else is such joy is visible. So therefore, in this world, generally, people, they don't want to be called as servant. Nobody wants to be called a servant. Because in this world, the conception of servant means exploitation, abuse, no freedom, no resources, no happiness. But in the spiritual world, it is completely opposite. Krishna Das Abhiman Ye Ananda Sindhu. Krishna is ready to become the servant of his own devotees, because the servants enjoy much more than the master in the spiritual world. Then who will not want to become the servant? Krishna is hankering to become his servant. He is not able to experience that joy. Therefore he comes as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. So the supreme joy of servitude is highest. And then he gives series of examples of who all are experiencing this Das Abhiman. Parama Prayasi Lakshmi Hridaya Vasati Teho Dasya Sukhamage Koriya Minati. So the Lakshmi Devi, goddess of fortune, who is residing on the chest of Krishna, she is eager. She is hankering to be the maid servant of Krishna. She is praying, she is begging, please give me the joy of being your servant, oh my Lord. That's why she is ready to give up her position of Lakshmi, and she is ready to become a maid servant. And she is doing tapasya in Belwan to become a maid servant as a gopi. She is praying. And not only that, even Brahma, Shiva, Narada, Shuka, Sanatan, all the Kumaras, they are ready. They are hankering to experience that joy of servitude. And when they experience this joy, they are so very happy. And of all the associates, Nityananda Prabhu, who is the foremost, he becomes mad in ecstasy. So therefore, when we hear such descriptions, the ecstasy of service is so great. So all these descriptions should actually make us eager to experience this joy of being the servant of Krishna. But the problem is, our conception of being the master is so very strong that we cannot experience, we cannot even fathom, and we cannot even relate to what is the joy of being servant. But these descriptions should actually make us eager to experience that joy. Just like in Bhagavad Gita 15th chapter, when Krishna is saying, oh, there is no need of sun, moon, electricity, na tad bhashayate suryo na shashanko na pavaka yad gatva na nivartante tad dhama paramam mama. So there Prabhupada writes, one should be captivated by such information. That is the purpose of all the Vedic scriptures, so that we can at least develop some attraction for these pastimes, so that we can develop at least some reverence for these pastimes. Some aspiration should develop, so that, okay, one day I want to develop this joy of being servant of Krishna. That desire should come. We may not experience the joy, but at least we should desire to experience the joy. Who else are experiencing this joy of being servant? Shrivas, Haridas, Ramananda Gadadhar, Mukunda Murari Chandrasekhar Vakreshwar, Ei Sab Pandit Lok Parama Mahatva, Chaitanyera Dasye Sabhay Karaye Unmatta. All these big devotees, Haridas, Srivas Thakur, Ramanand Rai, Gadadhar Pandit, they are great personalities. All of them are becoming mad when they are serving Krishna. The joy of service is so much. They are big scholars. And generally for scholars, Pandits, to serve somebody menially, it is not so easy. And they cannot behave like, ordinary people and dancing and singing. But that is the glory of being servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That's what happened to Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, who was he? He was the greatest of the scholars of Navadvip. And when Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he transformed him. He was dancing like a child. He was dancing like a madman. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they were laughing, seeing the dance of Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya. Gopinathacharya kahit ek tumhara kripa sindhu, uchalit kori bare yar ek bindu. Says, oh my Lord, this is your mercy. Gopinath Acharya is telling to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, this is your mercy. By your mercy, you have made this Bhattacharya into a devotee. Shushka tark kholi khaite janma gela yar. Tare lilamrit piyao ei kripa tomar. Are this Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya, whole life he was busy in eating the dry cakes of logic. Tare lilamrit piyao ei kripa tomar. Oh, this is your mercy. You are making him drink this nectar of Harikatha. Meru mandar dubai jata tatha ei dui ganda shaili haraki katha. One day, Sarvabhaum Bhattacharya and Ramanand Rai, very grave personalities, scholars. Ramanand Rai was the governor. They went to ocean and they were playing like children. Bal Chanchalya. They were playing like children. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling Gopinath Acharya, Are, please tell them, they are behaving like children. Pramanik, they are Gambhir Pramanik Jan, Bal Chanchalya Kore Koraha Varjan. Are, these are very grave and very sober people and they are behaving like childs. Please stop them. So Gopinath Acharya says, Are, what to speak of these people? मेरु मंदार डुबाई यथा तथा यही दुई गंड शैल हार की कथा. Oh my Lord, your mercy has can drown even Meru and Mandar. What to speak of these two people? They are like small pebbles. So therefore, the uh, the servitude of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the sentiment of being servant of Krishna and servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is so great that big pandits like Murari, Mukunda, Vakreshwar, Chandrasekhar, Srivas, they become mad in serving Krishna, serving Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And in that ecstasy, they sing, they dance like madmen. Ei mat nache gaye kare attahas, loke upadeshe ho Chaitanya Radas. In this way, they laugh very loudly, sing and dance, and they're instructing everyone, please become servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That is the greatest welfare activity. You know, one time Radha Gopinath Prabhu was telling that in Mayapur we have Panchatattva, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is like this, you know, with both his hands up. So he's telling, you know what he's telling? He's telling, please come, come, come. He's calling everyone. So then somebody will say, Kahan hai? Where to come? So Nityanand Prabhu, his one hand is showing at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to come there. And then on the other side, Gadadhar Pandit is standing. He's also his one hand at the feet of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. You have to come there only. And then Advaitacharya with his folded hands, he's also pointing. And Gadadhar and Srivas with his folded hands, he's telling, please come. So all these associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are themselves mad in ecstasy, joy, experiencing the joy of being servant of Mahaprabhu. And they want to drown the entire world in this ecstasy. Therefore, they are telling, please love Chaitanya, how Chaitanya Radas become servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and experience this joy. And therefore, Advaitacharya says that Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he considers me to be his spiritual master. But as far as I am concerned, I consider myself as his servant. In the spiritual world, there is competition to be the servant, which is opposite to the material world. In material world, everyone wants to be the master. Nobody wants to become the servant. But in spiritual world, everybody wants to become the servant. So that is a difference. And then Kaviraj Goswami goes into an elaborate description of what is this dasya bhava and who all are serving Krishna in dasya bhava. Krishna premer ek apurva prabhav guru sam laghu ke korai dasya bhava. So actually he says everyone in the entire creation is serving Krishna in dasya bhava, whoever they may be, whether the superiors, whether equals, whether inferiors, juniors, everyone is serving Krishna in dasya bhava. So you may say, oh, how come the superiors also? Yes. So Prabhupada writes the purport that actually the service attitude of the devotees who play the part of superiors, it is very difficult to understand. But it can be understood very clearly because everyone, whoever they may be, they are eager to serve Krishna. And he gives the examples of all the associates of Krishna, starting from Nanda Maharaj and Yashoda Mai. So Prabhupada writes, actually, in the feature of Narayan, the Lord accepts service only from his associates who play parts either as equals or less than him. Nobody is greater than Lord Vishnu. There is no person in the spiritual, in the Vaikuntha, who can chastise Lord Vishnu, Lord Narayan. Nobody can do that. Nobody can climb on the shoulders of Lord Narayan. Everybody is just serving Krishna humbly, serving Vishnu humbly, Lord Narayan. There is very beautiful verse which says, describes what happens every day in the morning. All the devatas, right from Indra, Chandra, Varuna, Brahma, everyone lines up in front of the doors of Vaikuntha. Jai Vijay, they are standing. And all these great devatas, they take bath in Pushkarini ka talav. There is a lake, Pushkarani. And with their wet hairs and dress, they are standing in line waiting for darshan of Lord Vishnu. And all the while they are chanting the glories of Lord Narayan. So Jai Vijay, they are standing with a stick in their hands. And sometimes, they hit them on their head and say, please chant softly. Others are also chanting. Shri Swami Pushkarnika Plava Nirmalanga Shreyarthino Har Virinchi Sanandanadya Dware Vasanti Varavetra Hatottamanga Shri Venkatachalapate Tava Suprabhatam. So this is one of the beautiful prayers, in which it is described all the devatas are standing in line waiting for darshan and they are chanting hymns and somebody is chanting loudly. So they are hit. Varavetra Hatottamanga. Uttamanga means the head. They are hit on their head. Chant softly. Indra comes. Oh, I want to meet. So Jai Vijay says, appointment liya hai? No appointment I didn't. Oh, so then you can't meet. Go back. So in the Vaikuntha, everybody is serving Krishna as the subordinate. But everybody is serving Lord Vishnu as subordinate. But Krishna, he accepts service in all the rasas, as fathers, as teachers, as friends, as lovers, as equals, subordinates, Gopa friends. How is it that? So Kaviraj Goswami, he gives evidence from scriptures. He says, in the Vaikuntha, in Goloka, nobody is more respected than Nanda Maharaj. Nanda Maharaj is the most respectable personality. He is a father of Krishna. But and he is serving Krishna in paternal love, Vatsalya Bhav. But actually the Vatsalya of Nanda Maharaj, it is imbued with the mood of being a servant. How can you say that? So Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from 10th canto, where Uddhava, when he goes to meet Krishna, the residents of Vrindavan, he meets Nanda Maharaj. And Nanda Maharaj tells, oh my dear Uddhava, please tell me, how is Krishna? Actually, in truth, Krishna is my son, but even if you say that he's God, for Nanda Maharaj and Yashodama, it is impossible to accept Krishna to be God. But even if you say that he is God, I still have the same feelings for him as my son. What do I want? May my mind be attracted to your Lord Krishna. I want to serve. He says, may our mind be attached to the lotus feet of Krishna. That is a dasya bhav. Manaso vrittayo na syu Krishna padambujashrayah vacho vidyaniniyam kayastat prahavanadishu. He says, so Nanda Maharaj is praying, may our mind be attracted to the lotus feet of Krishna. May our tongue always chant the names of Krishna. May our body offer prostrated obeisances to him. So that is Dasya Bhav. He says, wherever we wander in this universe, I only desire one thing. I only desire that whatever auspicious activities I have performed, I may develop attraction for Krishna. That's it. Then he tells about the friends of Krishna, headed by Sridama. Sridama is the foremost of all the Gopa friends of Krishna. So although they climb on the shoulders, they fight with him, sometimes they defeat him also, but they serve Krishna in the mood of servant. Although they have Sakhya Bhav, but their Sakhya Bhav is imbued with the mood of being servant. Pad samvahanam chakro kechit tasya mahatmanah apare hat papmano vyajanai samavijayan. Pad samvahanam chakru. So again, Kaviraj Goswami quotes a verse from 10th canto where Krishna is roaming around with all his cowherd friends in Vrindavan in the forest and playing and jumping from one forest to another, and they become tired. So all the friends of Krishna, what they do? They massage the feet of Krishna and Balram. And they are not ordinary personalities. Don't think that they are ordinary children playing with Krishna in this way. Oh, they have destroyed all their previous, uh, impious activities, sinful reactions, and that's why they have attained this position of being friend of Krishna. Sakam Vijharu Kritapunya Punja. They have amassed unlimited pious credits. That is not ordinary pious credit, that is the devotional pious credit. So they are also serving Krishna in the mood of servant. And who else? So Vatsalya ho gaya, Sakhya is done, and then Madhurya. So he says, even the girlfriends of Krishna, the gopis, they are serving Krishna in the mood of being a servant. Although they are highest, they are in the Vatsalya, they are in the Madhurya Bhav, but still their Dasya Bhav is so very prominent. Brajajanartihan Virayoshitam Nijjana Smaya Dhvamsana Smita Bhajasake Bhavat Kinkari Smano Jalaruhananam Charudarshaya. So again, Kaviraj Goswami is quoting a verse from Gopi Geet where the cowherd damsels, all the gopis, they are in separation from Krishna and they are remembering Krishna. Rajajanartihan Virayoshitam. O Krishna, you are remover of all the distresses of the Braj gopis. Nijjana Smaya Dhvamsana Smita. Oh my Lord, you destroy the pride of your devotees by your smile. Krishna had disappeared because they became proud. So the gopis, they are telling, oh, you destroy the pride of your devotees. And who are we? Bhajasakhe bhavat kinkari smano. O Krishna, we are your maid servants. Jalaruhanunam charudarshaya. Please appear in front of us and show your beautiful face. That is the mood of gopis. They are only there to become the servants of Krishna. That's all. They have no personal desire of sense enjoyment. Their life, their existence is for Krishna's pleasure. They don't want anything in return. That is the mood of Radharani. That is the mood of all the gopis. They are there only to give pleasure to Krishna. And therefore, he quotes another verse when Uddhava, he goes to give the message to all the Brajvasis. He has brought a letter for gopis also. He says, and when he delivers this letter, so gopis headed by Srimati Radharani, she's telling that, oh Uddhava, it is indeed regrettable that Krishna, he is now residing in Mathura and he has forgotten his father. He has forgotten his mother. Does he remember his maidservants? The same mood of the gopis are there when they met Krishna in Kurukshetra. So Radharani is speaking. वृंदावन गोवर्धन जमुना पुलिन वन से सब रासादिक लीला ब्रज जनेर ब्रज जन माता पिता बंधुगण बड़ चित्र के मन पसरीला नागणी अपनार दुख देखी ब्रजेश्वरी मुख ब्रज जनेर हृदय बिदरे कीबा मार ब्रजवासी कीबा जियाओ ब्रजयासी केने जियाओ दुख सही बारे. So Srimati Radharani is telling, oh Krishna, have you forgotten Vrindavan? How can you forget Vrindavan? Even if you forgot Vrindavan, how can you forget Govardhan? How can you forget the kunjas where we performed all the pastimes? How can you forget Nand Maharaj? How can you forget Yashoda Mai? So when Uddhava brings this letter, all these gopis they are telling, does he remember his maid servants? And we were thinking when Krishna will put his aguru scented hand on our heads. And then he says, what to speak of the maid servants, even Srimati Radharani, Sri Radhika, who is the most elevated of all the gopis. She considers herself as the maid servant. He Natha Ramana Sreshta Kwasi Kwasi Mahabhujao Dasyaste Kripanaya Me Sakhya Darshaya Sannidhim. He Nath Ramana Preshta. He Nath, oh my Lord, oh my husband, oh my dear beloved. Kwasi Kwasi, oh, where are you? Where are you? Oh my dear lotus-eyed Lord, we are your maid servants. I am your maid servant. Please come and show your beautiful face. So that is the mood of Srimati Radharani also. So everyone in the entire creation, up to topmost of the devotees, Srimati Radharani, they have their mood of dasya bhav. So hearing all these descriptions, we should more and more become aware that this dasya bhav is the highest. Mood of being servant of Krishna is the highest. That's why we are, our identity is Gopir Bhartur Padakamalayur Dasa Dasanu Dasa. Naham Vipro Nachanarpati Napi Vaishyo Na Shudro Naham Varni Nachagrahpati Navanastho Yatirva. I am not Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra, Sannyasi, Vanprastha, Grihastha, Brahmachari. I am no one. And who are you? Kintu prodyan nikhil paramananda purnamritabdhe gopi bhartu padakamalayo dasa dasanudasa. I am only servant of the servant of the servant of the maintainer of the gopis, that is Krishna. So this dasya bhav is the highest. And that's what we are here to meditate on. That's why we are here to practice to become servant. That's why we are called as das and dasis. So this mood of being servant is the highest. And then he describes, oh, what about the queens of Dwarka? They are also in the mood of being servant. First he described the mood of gopis, and then he's describing the mood of the queens of Krishna. They are also serving Krishna in the dasya bhav. So then he again recites the conversation which happened on the Kurukshetra during lunar eclipse, when during solar eclipse, when all the Brajvasis, all the ladies, they all the queens of Krishna, they met Draupadi. So Draupadi, she's asking everyone, how did you get married to Krishna? And everyone is telling their story. So Rukmini Devi, she says, oh, Jarasan and all the other kings, they were ready to hand me over to Shishupal. But Krishna, he came just like a lion, and he, just like a lion, takes away his sheep, his prey from the midst of jackals. Krishna came and he took me away. And now I am serving Krishna as a maid servant. May Krishna always remain the object of meditation for me. And then Kalindi, she spoke. She says, I was doing tapasya in Yamuna, And knowing that I'm performing austerities, Krishna came along with his friend Arjuna and he married me. And now I am serving. Now I am a sweeper in the palace of Krishna. That is a joy of the highest of the devotees, being a sweeper. Actually, that is what Lakshmi Devis are doing in the spiritual world. You know, Shri Rupini Kvanayati Charanarvindam Leelambujena Harisadmani Mukta Dosha Samlakshate Swatika Kudya Upetya Hemnim Sammarjati Vayadanugrahane Anya Yatnaha Sammarjati Shri Rupini, the Lakshmis, Charanarvindam, they are worshipping the lotus feet of Krishna, Lord Vishnu. And what they are doing, they are brooming the floor of Vaikuntha where there is no dust. Just to show Krishna that I am your maid servant. And then he tells about some other queens also. He tells about Lakshmana, how she is also serving as a maid servant. And then he says, oh, what to speak of others? Even Baladev Mahashay, Anir ka katha Baladev Mahashay, Yar Bhava Shuddha Sakhya Vatsalya Dhimay. You know, Baldeva, Lord Balram is unique. He is serving Krishna in all the rasas, but in all the rasas, this Dasya Bhav is prominent. He serves as friend, he serves as master. That means a superior. But in all those rasas, Dasya Bhav is very, very prominent. So Prabhupada writes, according to social conventions, although Balram is elder to Krishna, but he is engaging in Krishna's service only. Everyone in the entire world, they are only serving Krishna. No one can supersede Krishna in any way, you know. And he says, actually, the more a person engages in serving Krishna, the more important he becomes. So the servant of Krishna is the most important position. Just like, you know, people in this country, in this world, they also, if they are even, if somebody is a driver of Prime Minister, that is a abhiman. I'm not an ordinary driver. I am driving for Prime Minister. So what to speak of if somebody is servant of the Supreme Personality, Akhil Koti Brahmanda Nayak, you know. So therefore he says, actually, Baldev, although he is the Supreme Lord himself, but he considers himself as servant. Teho apana ke koren das bhavana, Krishna das bhava vinu ache kona jana. So Baldev is also considering himself dasya bhavana. Actually, who is there in this world who is not serving Krishna? Everyone is serving Krishna only. Just like George Harrison, when he wrote foreword to Krishna book, he says, everyone loves Krishna. Some know and some doesn't. Everyone is servant of Krishna only. Some are serving Krishna directly and some are serving him indirectly. And therefore Balram, who is Shesha himself, who is Sankarshan, and he assumes 10 forms and he is serving Krishna in so many ways. And then what about Rudra? Rudra, who is an expansion of Shadashiva, he is also serving Krishna, although he is a Gunavatar. He is a qualitative avatar. He is a avatar he is a deity of mode of ignorance. And he is the foremost of all the devatas. That's why he's called as Maheshwara. He's master of all the devatas. He is also serving Krishna. Teho karena Krishnera dasya pratyash nirantar kahe Shiva mui Krishna das. He is also thinking, he has also this conception that I am Krishna das, and he's telling everybody, I am Krishna das. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu, Nimnaganam yatha Ganga, Devanam achyuto yatha. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu Purananam idam tatha. Vaishnavanam yatha Shambhu. Just like among all the rivers, Ganga is supreme. Among all devtas, Vishnu is supreme. Among all the devotees of Krishna, Lord Shiva is supreme. Among all the Puranas, Bhagavatam is supreme. So Lord Shiva, he has this conception, very, very strong conception that I am servant of Krishna. And in that conception, you know what happens? Krishna preme unmatta vihval digambar, Krishna guna lila gai nache nirantar. So that is what is making Lord Shiva dance. Krishna prem unmatta. He's mad in Krishna prem. And he doesn't even has any conception I am wearing clothes or no clothes. He's overwhelmed in ecstasy and he's dancing, he's singing the glories. Krishna guna lila gai nache nirantar. And he continuously dances. There's a story about Jagannath Puri. One time, Narad Muni, he went to Vaikuntha and he requested Lakshmi Devi, I want Mahaprasad of Lord Vishnu. Lakshmi Devi said, actually, Lord Vishnu has told that please don't give anyone my Mahaprasad. But he requested and she said, okay, because you are my son, I'll try, I'll do something. So she requested Lord Vishnu. Lord Vishnu said, oh, actually, I don't give my Mahaprasad to anyone, but because Narad Muni is such a great devotee of mine, he has requested, okay, when I am not noticing, you can take something. So she gave a morsel of food of Mahaprasad, and Narad Muni, when he tasted that, he became so ecstatic, he started dancing, and in that dancing ecstasy, he reached Kailash. And Lord Shiva, when he saw Narad Muni is unusually happy and he's dancing like a madman, what happened to him? So he explained, he asked, so Narad Muni explained what happened. So Lord Shiva said, Are, I am your brother. थोड़ा सोचना चाहिए था ना भाई के बारे में भी. You should have brought something for me. Narad Muni said, it was very little. So Lord Shiva said, no, something must be there. So Narad Muni found one grain was stuck under his nails. He had not washed his hand also. So Lord Shiva, when he gave this to Lord Shiva and he tasted that, he started dancing in ecstasy. Nache Krishna preme unmatta. Krishna guna lila gai nache nirantar. He started dancing and singing the glories of Lord Krishna. And Parvati, she saw, Arey, abhi to pralay ka samay aaya nahi hai. Why the Lord is dancing so much? So she asked, what happened, oh my Lord? So he explained, today I have tasted Mahaprasad of Lord Vishnu. So Parvati became angry. He said, Arey, I am Ardhangini. Patni ke baare mein socha nahi. I also want. He said, abhi ek hi tha, I have tasted that. I will do tapasya. She went and she started doing tapasya in Jagannath Puri area, and there Lord appeared and said, okay, in Kali Yuga, I will appear as Jagannath Puri, and whatever prasad is offered to me, it will be first given to you. That's how in Jagannath Puri, all the prasad first is offered to Bimala Devi. So therefore, Lord Shiva considers himself to be servant of Krishna. Krishna Das Abhiman is so very prominent in each and every individual, from the highest to the lowest. And that is what is described here. So all the emotions, whoever you may be, father, mother, friend, and the servants of Krishna, the teachers, everybody is in the mood of dasya. And that is the nature of Krishna's love. And then Kaviraj Goswami explains that, that Caitanya Mahaprabhu is the same Krishna who has appeared in Kali Yuga. Eka Krishna Sarvasevya Jagat Ishwar Arayat Sabatar Sevakanuchar. So therefore, Ek Krishna Ishvara. Only Krishna is a Ishvara. He is Sarva Sevya. And everyone in this entire world, they are the Anuchar of Sevak Anuchar of Krishna. They are servants of Krishna. And who is that Krishna? Say Krishna Avatirna Chaitanya Ishwar Ata Eva Ar Sab Tahara Kinkar. And who is that Krishna? Krishna is that same. Who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu? He is the same Krishna who has appeared. So therefore, everyone is servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He is the same Krishna who has descended in this world. Some accept, some don't. Keha mane, keha na mane, sab tar das. Ye mana mane tar hoye sei papanash. Some people accept Mahaprabhu as Ishwar, some don't. But one who does not accept him, he is ruined. He is destroyed by his sinful activities. There is no hope for him. Anyone who does not take shelter of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he is lost. So Prabhupada writes, actually, if a person does not engage in service of the Lord, he engages in all sorts of inauspicious activities and he gets destroyed. That is the glory of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not only that, he says, that Supreme Personality who has appeared in the mood of servant, Balaram, and in the mood of servant as Advaita. Advaitacharya is saying, Chaitanya Radasamui, Chaitanya Radas, Chaitanya Radasamui, Tar Dasiradas. That Advaitacharya, he is chanting and singing and dancing and loudly telling everyone, I am servant of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Chaitanya Radasamui, Chaitanya Radas. I am servant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Not only that, I am servant of the servant of Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Tar Das Anudas. And saying this, Advaitacharya, he dances and he loudly sings. And Balaram, he is also having the same mood of being servant. Bhakta Abhimana Mool Shri Balarame Sei Bhave Anugat Tar Amshagane. So the mood of servitude is prominent in Balaram also. So that is the mood of servitude in all the associates of Krishna. And then he explains that not only Krishna, not only the other devotees, even all the incarnations of Krishna, they are serving Krishna in the mood of servitude. And that we'll discuss next time. We'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anybody has any questions? Okay, so there are no questions. So we'll stop here. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami ki jai.